out of Cleveland. He's apparently also talked to Aiden Hutchinson about teaming up with him in Detroit. Take a listen.
If me and Miles were to pair up, that would be deadly.
I don't know if you've seen anything like it.
I know. I was talking to him. We were at the honors, and we were just talking about what could be, and although it's probably unlikely, I think I would be thrilled to play next to him if it were to happen.
Well, here's the type of company Myles Garrett is in. Longest streaks all time, double-digit sacks. One more, he ties the legendary John Randall. 2 away from arguably the greatest defensive player of all time in Reggie White. He's certainly on the short list is Reggie. Greg, can I call them your Lions? I don't know. I think of you. You have a couple other NFC North teams, but you have some, obvious Michigan roots.
No, the answer's no.
Okay. Would the Lions be Super Bowl favorites if they add Myles Garrett?
Like in this hypothetical scenario, if they were just able to add Myles Garrett,
yeah, they trade first round pick and something else for him.
See, it depends on what the something else is.
Another pick, no players.
No players.
It's all draft compensation. Let's work in that scenario.
Okay. They definitely would be one of the favorites.
That's not the question.
They're already one of the. Well, because yes.
Okay, there we go.
I'm gonna say yes,
Greg. There you go.
Yes, and here's the reason why I say yes. Because when we look at the Lions, we don't really necessarily look at them as having the issues on the offensive side of the ball. I know Jared Goff performed.
They were
poorly.
Great on offense all year.
Absolutely.
Until the playoff games.
It was the defensive injuries. Myles Garrett almost never gets injured. He's always available. Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson, one of the young up-and-coming defensive ends in the game, pass rushers in the game. If he's healthy and you got Myles Garrett, you actually almost don't have to defend in the back end because somebody's getting to the quarterback. And so it makes the job of everyone else that much easier. And obviously bringing on a new defensive coordinator, it makes their job easier. Like this would be, like Aiden said, it would be unreal.
It would have been the idea the Chargers had when they paired Mac up with Bosa, except I think both of these guys are better than both of those guys.
Yes.
Because Mac at one
at
point.
This stage,
at this stage. And so, but go ahead, bro.
I don't have to go all the way around the mulberry bush like Greg did. Yes! Yes!
Why do you let him do you like
Yes! I mean, what? It would almost be like you're adding 2 Myles Garretts because they were without Hutchinson for most of this season.
3 Myles Garretts.
So you're adding those 2 guys to the offense is fine, and I get it. Goff isn't in that top 4 group we always talk about, but he's still good enough. It would be like Philly where the quarterback's viewed as the weak link, but he's still a very good quarterback. And then at that defense, yes, they would be the favorites.
Yeah, I'm not. First of all, I was the only one to pick Detroit to go and win the Super Bowl.
So you are the Lions.
I had them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But besides that, I don't think it makes them the favorite. But I think it's a great combination. And to Greg's point, you now have a defense coordinator that's a linebackers coach who's going to want to play more zone. When you've got 2 defensive linemen that can rush like they can rush, you can play more zone. Everybody looks better. The other part is you can rest one and the other one can be on the field, which is a unique situation because you've got a guy who can ruin the game on the field at all times. So that part is fantastic. I do think getting over the coordinator, the transition of both coordinators is a bigger deal than we're maybe making it because of how successful Philly was making that transition. But it's going to be, that to me, it's great. They're obviously in the mix no matter what, whether he's there or not. But until you see what the impact of losing the coordinators, I can't say yes.
The answer is no, but they should do it.
Who you think would be favorites?
Listen, I think the Chiefs should be the favorite, and if it's not the Chiefs, then the Eagles should be as of right now. Go ahead. Yeah, no.
I was going to say quickly, and Chiefs is one thing. I would say about the Eagles, and the reason I favor Detroit certainly in the NFC is because only 2 people have done it: Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes this century. So it's unlikely that Philly does it again.
I'll be honest. I'm just trying to be respectful to Philly because I doubted them so often, and they were right. They won all of it. I don't think in a league that has Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson on good teams, I really don't think anybody that has a quarterback on a different tier should be the favorite. Doesn't mean they can't, but that, like, just going into the year, if one of the superhero quarterbacks is on a really good team, one of those teams should be the Vegas favorite, but they should definitively do this. This is your window. This is your moment.
Definitely is your window.
Right, and so I don't know how many more, chances with this core group of guys, because they don't lose a ton of that team won 15 games last year. They lose their coordinators, but as far as their key players, that offensive line is intact. Amon-Ra is there. Jahmyr Gibbs still on his rookie deal. Goff is there. So I would absolutely do that if I were Detroit. I would try. They've never made a Super Bowl. You've been banging on the door, and Myles Garrett is not, to me, a resource that's going down in value. I understand he's at this point kind of a middle-aged player, but he is a Hall of Fame, one of the, there's not 10 guys in the league probably that are more guaranteed to be Hall of Famers if they hung it up today than Myles Garrett, and he's still prime-ish of his career. If you can get him, you get him.
And to Nick's point, they don't have a superhero quarterback, but we've seen superhero quarterbacks' kryptonite, which is D-line.
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
and whether it's Patrick Mahomes, whether, Tom Brady, what's been the problem in the Super Bowls? Good defensive line.
This is like
They should definitely.
Myles Garrett, let me just add one more thing before we move on. I think that every contender in the league should be having meetings about this player. I think that every single contender in the league should have time this week or last week or whatever, be like, okay, what would it cost us to bring in Myles Garrett, and what would it mean for us? Because he is a perennial candidate of the best player in the entire league on his side of the ball, and he's available, and he will be energized and excited because he wants to play for a contender.
Well, simply the idea of the Lions having never been to a Super Bowl,
Right.
Yes.
you would mortgage, like the fan base would go all in.
Yes.
We will take, if this tells us
Would you take Myles Garrett and you have to take Deshaun Watson with his guaranteed money?
I don't think that they could do that.
I mean, but if I had to,
They'll give you Myles Garrett, but you've got to take Deshaun's
I still do it. He's not going to
contract.
play, obviously.
Yeah,
How many
so
more
you
years
give up.
he got
So
on the
you give
cap,
up
too?
no picks.
No picks,
No
but you
picks.
got to eat up $100
Yeah,
and
I don't think, because I think you can get him for 2 first-round picks. Yeah. So I don't think $100 million in my cap is worth 2 first-round picks. You know what I mean? I think that I'd rather give up the first-round picks. All right, moving on to the Bengals, a team that's not in the Myles Garrett sweepstakes because they don't even know if they're going to keep their own good players, much less get other teams' good players. But supposedly they want to pay everyone. Star wideout Jamar Chase, according to our Jordan Schultz, you know what? He likes big round numbers. 35 million, 36 million. It's complicated, guys. Let's just call it 40. Let's just do a smooth 40 million per year. Here's Jamar Chase, his ranks since the merger amongst players in their first 4 seasons. 4th most receptions, 3rd most yards, 3rd most receiving touchdowns. Again, that's amongst all players since the AFL-NFL merger. Brew, are you buying Jamar Chase is worth $40 million per year?
Well, didn't the cap came in at $20 million higher than they expected?
Well, $20 million, I think, higher than last year, and a few, like $7 or $8 million higher than they expected.
He's worth whatever the top of the receiver market is. And if it's going to be 40.
Well, right now it's 36.
Right, but I'm just saying, with the jump in the cap and the jump even higher than we expected, if it's 40, if it's 39, whatever it is, he should get it because he's that good. Now, there's no way I see you be able to pay him $40 million and keep T. Higgins, but I just think they got to kiss this T. Higgins thing goodbye.
Right.
Keep Jamar, keep Trey Hendrickson, add some defensive players, maybe a running back with the money you would pay T, and go from there. You should be Joe Burrow. If he can't get it done with just Jamar Chase, a good tight end, if they keep Gesicki and, some other decent receivers, then he's not what we thought he was.